You're listening to Healthy Living with Eric Sue Podcast, episode 167.
This episode is sponsored by Tower Garden, a vertical growing garden that grows herbs, vegetables, and fruits all year round. It's simple and easy to use. Forget about weeds. Just grow and harvest fresh produce. Want to learn more? Visit www.ericsue.towergarden.com.
First time listener? Hey, welcome. My team and I hope you enjoy this episode. Long time listener? We thank you for your continued support. No matter who you are, do us a favor and hit the share button so all your friends can hear this amazing content too. Alright, are you ready to be amazed?
Health tips, wellness advice, no hype. Welcome to Healthy Living with Eric Sue, the show that inspires, motivates, and educates you towards your healthiest life. And now your host, Eric Sue.
Hey guys, Eric Sue here. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living with Eric Sue. We have a cool entrepreneur, oil broker, and founder of 1 Year No Beer. His name is Ruari Fairbairns. We'll be talking about 1 Year No Beer project. So without any delay, let me introduce you all to Ruari. So Ruari, you have a pretty cool story, and I thought I'd give you a chance to share that with everyone. So go ahead and tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Awesome. Stay with me, guys. Right. So thanks for having me on the show. Great to see you guys coming to join. And let me tell you a bit about me and the 1 Year No Beer project. So I was born 37 years ago on the island of Mull, a very small island off the west coast of Scotland. If anybody knows Scotland, then you know that we love a drink up there, and certainly on the west coast. You know, so it's always been around me. I'd say probably more so than most people, just because that's the culture. You know, it's very much ingrained. But so I went to school on the island and decided when I was 15 years old that I was going to be Richard Branson. And I left school and started my first business. And I ran that for about 2 years, realized I needed to learn how to sell. So, because clearly I was rubbish at it. And I moved off the island down to the city and got myself a couple of sales jobs. Really enjoyed that. And interestingly, you know, I'd always been the party boy, and really in the 20s, I explored my party boy side of myself to the fullest, you know, good trips out to Ibiza and partying hard. And then I decided to set up another company again. I ran that for 3 years, a sales outsourcing business working for tech startups. And again, you know, it's just ingrained in our culture, isn't it? You know, so you're going out to meet people, and often it's trying to meet customers, and drinks are had and stuff like this. Then all the way through my life, my relationship with alcohol has never been a bad one, what you might consider a bad one. I'm sure the NHS might consider it bad, but, you know, culturally it wasn't bad. I wasn't coming home and finishing off bottles on my own, and, you know, I wasn't addicted. But so after a few these different businesses I'd set up, and really none of them had worked, and I thought, that's it, you know, I'm clearly rubbish at this. And I moved back to the Isle of Mull, and I was in the pub one day, and somebody said to me, you know, he was listening to my story as I was spilling the beans about all these businesses that had failed, and he said, you know, you should really apply for the TV program The Apprentice. Now over here in the UK, the Apprentice is Sir Lord Sugar. And I'd never watched it before, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to have another pint, and then I'm going to go and fill out that application form. So I went up, filled out the application form, and surely enough, you know, 6 months later, interviews up and down to London, signed a contract, I'm ready to go on the show. And I'm all excited, you know, this is it, I'm getting really excited, I'm going to be a star. And the producers come out, and they come in, they come out, they come in, and eventually they say, look, I can't explain it now, but you're not going on the show. And I'm like, I can't believe this, you know, we'll fly you back to Scotland. And they never really told me why, but when I got to the airport, there was no way I was going to go back with my head in my hands, you know, feeling the failure. I was like, there must be an opportunity here somewhere. So I looked at the departure board, and I saw the next flight going to Ibiza. We've mentioned that already. So I went out to Ibiza, partied, had an amazing time, and then eventually bumped into, through a friend of a friend who was staying out there, I bumped into a broker who introduced me to the world of broking. And he got my CV, and sure enough, I started a job and moved down to London. And that's really where my broking career started. So I didn't get hired by Island Sugar, but I did get hired by David Houghton, as they say. And broking was brilliant, really fit me like a glove. I could entertain and be successful, and I was very successful at the broking side of things. But as I went through, later years, I met my wife, and then we started to have our first child. This relationship with alcohol was starting to wear a bit thin. I was still maybe partying a bit too hard. I would say, drunk maybe a couple of times a week, once with work, once with friends type thing. And I found that, it was causing a bit of friction, but I didn't want to admit it. I didn't believe it was the problem. So randomly, and from something completely different, I actually did an anger management program, and it suggests that alcohol and coffee are the two biggest instigators or promoters of anger. So I decided there and then to drop them for 90 days. And it was on that 90 days, I just couldn't believe what changed for me. I mean, I felt so healthy. I felt all of that energy I had when I was a young, budding entrepreneur, really trying to do stuff. I felt all that come rushing back again. I wanted to do my hobbies, my relationship improved, I got fitter. I went from 28% body fat down to just above 10%, 10.6. But not just that, because it's a spiral. Once you start to remove that numbing of the alcohol, I wanted to look at other areas. I wanted to explore my diet. I wanted to really get fit. So it was instead of it being a spiral downwards, it was a spiral upwards to better health. And when I did that, I got together with another broker, friend of mine in the city, and we said, look, we're onto something massive here. Society does not blame alcohol, right? Nobody's looking at this. Right. They want to blame everything else in the planet. Am I gluten intolerant? Is there some reason why I've got pains in my stomach or my chest? Yes, you're drinking too much alcohol. But so we realized this, and we said, how can we come up with something that is unique out there? Because when we looked ourselves, we found nothing. I even went to one AA session. I walked in there and I was like, I am nothing like these people. I'm nothing, I was like, that's not for me. And so we wanted to create something which was for the everyday person, the everyday drinker, to enable them, to give them a break and see if for themselves what this does. So we quickly dived out. My co-founder, Andy, he's done a master's in positive psychology, studied NLP, mindfulness. He worked with his tutors, the 3 leading professors of positive psychology in the UK, and we built this program to be a behavioral change technique. And what we created was basically a challenge, as I mentioned, with daily emails and a community which is absolutely smashing this to pieces. We did some work with Stirling University, and we realized that 84% of our members are choosing to carry on after 90 days. So we're having huge success rates. Anyway, so that brings you right from the beginning to where we are today. We launched One Year No Beer back in February 2015. What is it now? 2016. We launched in February 2016. We're now over 16,000 members in 100 countries. And it's just it's an incredible thing to be working in.
Now, just real quick here, for those who are new to all this, which probably most of the people who are listening are new to all this, what's the first step, I guess, in what the program you're sharing with us? What's the first step?
I think the very first step for people is a little expression of doubt. Okay, now this can happen a year, 2 years prior to even what it is it's suddenly somebody who's at the bar and thinks, I don't know why I'm doing this, or I think this is detrimental to my health, or am I drinking too much, or something like that. There's a little question, and I think that's step one. And you start to think, shall I have a look at this? Now, step 2 is to start the learning process. Now, this is really important. What we discovered was that anyone can go out and do a dry January, right? Or 30 days off. And you know what you do? You put your whole social calendar on hold. You tell everyone you're not coming out. You basically forget me for a whole month. I can't exist because I'm not drinking alcohol, right? No, you're not learning anything. What we need to do is make you realize that you're going to have a complete mindset shift. Let me just explain that for a second. Before all of us were old enough to drink, when we were 6 years old, whatever you like, you were watching your parents aunties, uncles, adults, TV, everybody celebrate, commiserate, congratulate with alcohol. It is so wired in your brain. And we're going around, running around on autopilot, believing that this is part of our tribe, part of our society, part of the way we behave. And to go against that is very, very tough, okay? So when the first step of this challenge is to actually go and rewire your brain. And you don't do that by not going out. You do that by going out and drinking alcohol-free alternatives or drinking stealthily. And we'll teach you how to do that. That's to go to a wedding and not tell anyone you're not drinking, but just make sure that you've got fake drinks. Tipping the barman so that there's loads of little skills and techniques like that you can use. But what you do is you go to these events, you go to weddings, you go to stag do's in Berlin, you go to high pressure events, and you realize you didn't need it. And that is when you start to really rewire your brain and you go, you know what, actually I don't need to drink that much, and you lift the lid. But the thing it takes is it takes going to these events, and it takes it takes some time to learn it. I think of this challenge much like a fitness challenge. Okay, forget what you think about giving up alcohol. This is not giving up alcohol. What you want is a six-pack of abs, right? Now, you could go and run around out there and try and get a six-pack on your own, or you could follow a guide which people have scientifically proven, which is going to get you there quicker and help you get that six-pack. This is exactly what we are doing. We are talking about trying to live comfortably and happy in alcohol-free in a completely alcohol-drenched society. That takes some learning, and that's what we teach.
Awesome. I'm wondering, because there's probably a lot of people listening. There are probably a lot of people who love alcohol, and what is it that's going to cause them to get to this mindset and this state where it's like, okay, let me give this a shot? What do you think in your experience pushes people to that point?
I think, and in fact, forget I think, I know that most of our members, and will continue to be that way, have no idea how much they're going to change when they take this challenge. And it doesn't matter how many times people tell you to the blue in the face, you're going to be so good, it's amazing. Until they want to just try it themselves, they're not going to realize. So that's why we created the challenge. Now, that way I can just put the gauntlet down to all of you right now, and I can say, this is really simple. Take my challenge. Take 90 days off the booze. If I'm wrong, fine, have all your money back. Look, we don't want to charge for anyone who hasn't had a life transformation, but I promise you, if you do it and apply yourself, you will. And it will change so much, not just you, but maybe your siblings or your people around, or your co-workers. Their relationship will start to change because you've led the charge. So I don't think anyone, I certainly didn't. I didn't come in and go, right, I'm going to give up alcohol. No way. I actually did 2 years completely alcohol free, and now I drink on special occasions. So I took 2 years out, went to loads of different events and occasions, long weekends, stag weekends, holidays. I mean, holidays alcohol free is a brilliant thing to try, because it's so deeply ingrained that when you go on holiday, you drink loads of booze. But but now I just drink on special occasions, and I've got it to that great spot. So that's what I say to people. If you want to reset your relationship, or you just want to find out what upsides there are out there. Now, if I just jump slightly to that, we've got personal trainers, fitness professionals, yoga teachers, right? These people who you'd think are the top of their game of wellness, who come on our challenge and are blown away by the results. Blown away. And they're like, I can't believe nobody's looking at this. I can't believe it's because it has such a big effect. And the thing is, you don't realize with alcohol what it's doing to you, because it's just a slow, gradual nipping away over time, bringing you down, depressant, anxiety, skin problems. So let me talk about some of the things that have come out the other side. Now, we've got guys who've had psoriasis their whole life that's cleared up within the 90 days. I've got Mark in Dubai. Mark, 5 years of IVF, told he would never give his wife babies because he had a low sperm count. And 100 days into my challenge, they're pregnant. They've now had their baby, called her Amber Faith after the color of our logo. So, we've got an OIMB baby out there. But this is just one example. There's tons of things where actually the change is far reaching. And something that Andy and I intend to prove to the world with this challenge and this system and the various techniques and products that are coming from our system is that alcohol is the gateway. Alcohol should be the first step in, or rather giving up alcohol for 90 days should be the first step in any intervention. And if I go through those, let's talk about PTSD, right, 90 days off the booze. Let's talk about depression, anxiety. Stop drinking, it's a depressant. Why are you taking antidepressants? You're drinking booze, this is just crazy, come on. Let's talk about relationship problems. You guys are arguing because you're numbing yourselves and fighting and being unreasonable with each other and then angry and everything else. Just stop drinking. I promise it will be the biggest insight into your relationship. And if it isn't, come and tell me I'm wrong. 16,000 people so far haven't come to me and told me I'm wrong.
Right. I'm pretty sure you've gotten a few people who were like, wow, this is pretty interesting, but it's not for me. And
yeah.
You probably have heard that. And what do you say to that person?
Well, I have no need to convince anyone. There's loads of people who say it's not for me. I mean, on our Facebook we get, messages of like, get away, how could it be so terrible? And what I understand is, what I love about that is, I sort of see people's inner or inside and what is really going on for them. So let's talk about that for a second. So when you say, I'm not drinking, and someone goes, what? What's wrong with you? Okay, what is going on there? Well, this is really simple. Basic tribalism, needing to belong, okay? So we all want to belong to the tribe, and we've been conditioned, as I said before, that the tribe drinks. So when you say that you're not drinking, you are leaving the tribe, and that causes people to be defensive and to worry about you. Are you somebody who's no longer in the tribe? Are you going away forever? What's wrong with you? Come back and join all of us in this tribe. The reality is, we are all going to go that way. The same paradigm shift that happened to cigarettes is going to happen to alcohol. We've got AB InBev who have decided that 20% of their market share is going to come. They're the world's largest brewer. 20% of their market share is going to come from non-alcoholic beers by 2020. That's 3 years. That's a major tectonic shift. And we're talking about government changing labeling. We're going to have more about the calories and fearful labeling that they've done into cigarettes. So you either are, within the next 10 years, everybody is going to be reconsidering their relationship with alcohol. Either you're going to be a leader and do it early, or you're going to find out and follow the pack later.
Nice. That's a really great answer. What is the big vision here ultimately, though? Where do you want this to go?
Okay. So I think for us right now, we've got a book coming out in December with Bluebird, Pan Macmillan. Very excited about that. We're working on a big event in London in October for the pre-release. We go into January next year. We're currently working on our app, and we hope to have the app out next year. And I think the app will really lower the barrier once again. You know how apps are for being able to track data, technology, seeing how people are interacting, proving our model. We've done a lot of work to prove our model, as I said, with Stirling University. But the long-term plan, well, everyone wants to compare themselves to some kind of successful blue chip out there, so I may as well join the crew. But let's say headspace for alcohol is step one, and that's all about the learning. So we're taking a subject matter, which is changing a relationship with alcohol free, and we're putting it into an app to help people follow. And then the second stage, I think further down the line, is Weight Watchers for alcohol. And by that is, already we have ambassadors. Those ambassadors come on and look after an area, help with coaching. One thing I just want to get into that, so I want to describe how our system is.
Sure.
Well, first of all, you come in and you sign up to the challenge and you book into a physical challenge. Now, it doesn't have to be physical, but we know that exercise is the number one well-being pill. So this year I've got 3 Spartans. I did the 3 peaks. I'm doing a tough Viking in Sweden, a tough mudder. We do this with big groups. You can do it on your own, do whatever. You could do a 5K, a 10K, you could do a triathlon, but whatever it is, it's something that stretches you. And that becomes part of your carrot. It becomes part of your excuse. When you're in the pub, you need to explain to people, I'm off booze because I'm doing this. But yeah, so a lot of our meetings or meetups are happening at park runs around the world, or Tough Mudders members getting together. Recently there was about 20 of us doing the 3 Peaks Challenge, and it's just so good to be around people who are living like how you want to live. And that's, we talked about that tribalism earlier. Something that's incredibly key, we realized very early on, is that if you're going to break that tribalism, which is so instinctive in you and will always pull you back to drinking, if you're going to break that, you must find a new tribe to belong to. And that's what we're creating with 1 Year No Beer. It's a tribe where you can feel that, I can belong to these guys. And in your hand, that is through Facebook groups, which are highly engaged. We've got hundreds of posts going in there a day. We've got somebody posting, and within minutes they've got tons of support around them for whatever. A forum, but also getting people together in real life. We're doing video stuff, group videoing, and also getting people into real life one-to-one. So that kind of tribalism is how people will really change their behavior.
Super awesome. I know that you're in what location again? London. And here in the US, how do people, be a part of all this?
Dead easy. Anywhere in the world. We're in over 100 countries all over the world. We've got tons of people in the US. I'm coming out in September to Arizona. I'm going to try and do a meeting with a few guys up there. When we do that, we just hang out, drink some non-alcoholic beers, go to a bar. It's great fun. We're trying to show people that life is exactly the same, in fact more fun, when you get together with these people. This is not marred and sitting around and talking about your problems. Yes, okay, a lot of people do drink for a reason and stuff like that, and inevitably during your 90 days you're going to start to uncover some difficult stuff, as we all do. But the beauty of it is by going alcohol free, you're given the tools to deal with it. You're given energy, happiness, you're given feel good factor, you're given that productivity to be able to deal or start wanting to explore those other problems. So dead simple. You want to come and join us, 1yearnobeer.com. Come onto the site there. We've got the 3 packages, 30-day, 90-day, and the 90-day plus MindFit. This MindFit package is what we realized is that, imagine you take the sponge, it's been absolutely drenched in alcohol for ages, and you start to bring the alcohol out. You need to fill it with all the good stuff while that's happening. Proper cleanse. And so we get you looking at all the top behavioral change, habit change, and positive psychology techniques to really boost your mental health. Things like what went well, journaling, being grateful, all those little techniques to integrate into your day that actually end up being behemoths in improving your mental health.
Super. And we want to be inclusive, and so I want to, maybe you can talk about those who do not drink and how they can be a part of this.
Absolutely. The thing about it is we're building a tribe. So whilst we've got the challenge for people, we absolutely want people who don't drink to come and join the Facebook group, the Facebook page, like us on that, interact on the Facebook page, and right now, I reckon next year we're going to have a much more inclusive place for anyone who's living alcohol free, and that's essentially what we are building, is people who are changing their relationship with alcohol or living alcohol free is a tribe to belong to.
Yeah, awesome. Summarize for us really quick here, what are the big benefits of your program?
I think the biggest benefits are, well, for me it was the reawakening and getting my enthusiasm and zest for life back. I just felt so, sluggish and wasn't getting what I wanted out of life. Malaise, and now I've got all my energy, passion, excitement. About 6 months into this, 6 months prior, my wife and I were fighting like absolute cat and dog. And 6 months into it, we were both agreeing we were more in love than we'd ever been in love. And our marriage has gone from strength to strength. And I realized not just alcohol being the problem, it wasn't the problem, but it was numbing everybody so that we couldn't see the problem. And that's the key. You said real quick, and that wasn't very cool. But
It's all good. It's all good.
The benefits are far-reaching, not just your health. It's all about it's about doing the things and being the person you want to be in life, and often alcohol is in the way.
Perfect. And for everyone who wants to learn more, participate, get in touch with you, what are the ways that people can do that?
Absolutely. 1 Year No Beer Facebook page. Come and like us on there, and we keep you all up to speed. Loads of stuff to get your mindset kicked off. Come and download the tips, tricks, and hacks at oneyearnobeer.com. That will get your mindset ready. And we've got a 4-day video session which really goes into a lot of the stuff I've talked about in more detail now. And if you want to get started, I would say this. Anyone who's like, oh, but it's the middle of summer, or this is coming up, I'm not sure about this. Those excuses are why you should get started on this challenge right now. Remember, a challenge is a challenge, right? The harder the challenge, the more rewarding it is at the end. And the fact is, if you go out and take these events head on, you go to that birthday, you do your own birthday, you go to the holiday, and you don't drink alcohol, you will rewire your brain. You will realize you didn't need it. You will have the most successful challenge. So I say to anyone out there who's worried about events coming up, brilliant. You're going to have a great challenge. Go for it.
Awesome. We'll make sure we get those contact links in the show notes. Would there be any last piece of advice you have for our audience?
Yeah, I'd say, well, a bit like I just said, there is never a good time for this. There's always reasons or excuses not to. And I would just say to anyone even thinking slightly about it, just give it a shot. Forget what I've said. Just listen to yourself inside, because I promise you the change in you could be dramatic. And I'm incredibly passionate about giving that gift to people.
Yeah, awesome. We only have one life, and how we live it makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. This was great. I really appreciate you spending some time with us from London.
Thank you.
And perhaps we can do a follow-up sometime soon and see how your project's working.
That'd be amazing. Thank you very much for having me on, and thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. It's been great. Thank you.
Great. We'll talk to you guys soon.